I'm just going to do a quick video on how to progress towards a dragon flag. We're going to start off with the absolute basics, which is going to be a tuck hollow body hold, and we're going to progress our way through until we get to some eccentric dragon flags, some full reps, and how we can use things like rollouts and some banded alternatives as accessories. We're going to start off with some tuck hollow holds. So I'd like to start off on your back. We're going to make sure that our shoulder blades are off the floor, so the lower point of our shoulder blades is just going to be on the base of the floor. You should notice that your lower back is flush to the floor here. Think about pulling your belly button in. You should feel the abs on and working a little bit here. So then going to bring the knees up to 90 degrees and think about pushing your fingers towards your toes to really create some tension in the abs. From there, we're going to form holds. Once you get to sort of 20-30 second holds here, we can start to think about extending alternating legs to get a little bit more leverage and a bit more load through, or we can take both legs out and down until we can hold in this position here, which as you can see is very similar to the bottom position of our hollow hold. And then if we can start to take the arms overhead, if you can hold this position really nice and strong, 30 seconds to a minute, we're in a really good place to begin progressing towards our dragon flag. From there, we can start to think about things like dish rocks. So we're going to hold this position and just start to create a little bit of movement from the hips, just so that we can learn to keep our hollow body as we're moving, and as tension changes, we can still keep that shape all the way through. From there, we're going to come on some eccentric dragon flags. So we're going to find, ideally an upright, you can do it on a cross beam, but it's a little bit less comfortable through the wrists, I tend to find, and therefore through the shoulder. So what we want to think about doing here is, once we're in this position, in addition to it being a hold, it's also a pull from our lats. So we're trying to pull our elbows towards our hips the whole time, so we're going to create loads of tension through there. What you might find is that if you don't activate the lats enough, we start to use our traps, and then it will really tighten up the neck, and we end up here really crunched up, which is not what we want. So we want to try and keep those shoulders down and just pull from our lats. So we're going to take a grip on our upright, but you can play around with the position here. Straight arms is obviously slightly more challenging, so the lever length. We're going to come in a little bit deeper here. We're going to then start by tucking up to the top of our position here. Nice tall position. Try and find this hollow body shape to start with. Okay, we're going to then bring one leg in, so that again, decreasing the leverage, and we're going to hold that shape. We're going to try and get the lower back and the hips to touch the floor first as we control it down to there. Knees back in, control up, switch legs and repeat. The next step from there is to go with the double leg. So you're coming up again, same thing, holding that hollow shape, creating that tension through the lats. So that as we come down through here, we're holding that shape all the way through. Lower back touches the floor first, you'll see the feet are just off, and then we can reverse crunch back up to the top. From there, you'll also notice that my hands aren't staggered here, they're both together, so that we can get an equal pull from both sides, which is a lot nicer, I tend to find. When it comes to doing our full reps, we're going to come up to the top. This is where the pull through the lats is really important. We're going to come back to our single leg. So we're going to come all the way through into a nice low again, holding that hollow body position, all the way down. Maintain it, pull from the lats, keep that shape all the way up. And obviously we can progress that to a full body movement as we come all the way down. Again, hold that shape, pull from the lats, coming up there. And again, as long as we get this in, we shouldn't really get any tension to the neck at all. I'm going to show you a couple of drills quickly that are good accessory movements for this. One, you'll need a band. I've got one. So take a resistance band, loop this. You can also use a cable machine for this just as easily. Loop it around your upright. And we're going to scooch forwards a little bit so that we can create some tension forwards. Again, this is going to teach us to engage our lats. It's a really nice drill for this, okay? So find our hollow shape with the arms overhead, lower back nice and tight to the floor, okay? We're going to pull from the lats, squeezing the hands towards the hips. It's also a really nice drill for building towards front levers. Hold in here, so again, lats are on. And then from there, I'm going to take some leg lowers, into a reverse crunch just to build that shape through there. We're going to do up to 10 reps here. Then we're going to hold that position and we're going to really pull overhead. Okay, using those lats, finding that position, finishing off with a nice hold, really squeezing into the lats here. Okay, we can play around with the times and the reps for that. Going onwards, other drills that are great are barbell rollouts or kneeling rollouts. I'll just run through those really quickly because the premise is exactly the same. The positional aspects are exactly the same. It's all about keeping a hollow body whilst we activate the lats. So we're going to come into this kneeling position. If you have a barbell, it's exactly the same. Nice hand grip, and we want to have a strong wrist position, so like wrists over the top of the bar. We don't want to be here because it's really hard when you're out there to then pull back. From there, I tend to think, start from a tall plank position, squeeze the bum, squeeze the abs, drop the knees down vertically here. So we've got knees, hips and shoulders all in line with each other. Squeezing the bum, and then we're going to push our hands away, keeping that position all the way out. And then from there, we're going to squeeze those hands back to the hips. Notice how I'm not sitting back. As soon as I sit back, I lose tension in the abs. You'll see that happen quite a lot. I want to make sure those hips are over so that the abs are on the whole time. And I'm really practicing keeping that position. And this, if you look at this movement here, it's exactly the same pull from here as the dragon flags are and as front levers are if you're going down that route. And obviously just to progress, what we can do, come to a full rep, so nice tall position here, push out, control this lower, drop the knees, come back in, there's a nice mid-range, and the full rep we're going to come out, squeeze all the way back in, and we can do that. We can band it from the top around the chest, also is a really nice drill just to cover that. So we come into here, band around the chest, it allows us to make that bottom part of the movement through here more accessible, which is another really nice way of doing it. So that's a very quick whistle stop tour of all the drills that I use when building towards things like dragon flags, rollouts and front levers. It's all about keeping a nice hollow position and being able to engage the lats, so think straight arm, hands pull past hips to actually allow that movement to be really effective. Make sure glutes and abs are squeezed and we're tucking that pelvis underneath so that we can load the abs really heavily and we're not going to load our that lower back and spinal erectors too much because we want to focus that tension in the abs.